Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to go over another round of Twitter users attempting to attack Hololive's Gawr Gura for a recent post that she made. Since her debut in 2020, there has been a routine bout of antis attacking her and her management over various posts and things that she has done during her career. And all throughout all of that time, we have tracked some of these weirdos and used them for free content and free laughs on this channel. And that's exactly what we're going to do today based on some of the outrage stemming from a recent post that she made. Now, what is that recent post? Well, it has to do with this collab between Hololive and Honeyworks. This is a very big music collab. They have a full album featuring many of the Hololive members in that album. You can see a little teaser here with some of the tracks. This is on YouTube. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to check it out before you consider purchasing the album. It's a banger as expected between a collab like this. And seemingly as a part of this ongoing collab that's been taking place the last couple of months, Gawr Gura made this post. And part of this post describes her character in this collab setting as an elementary school aged genius who skipped grades and is now enrolled in high school. And a lot of people on Twitter have been taking this description as a literal reflection of the person behind Gawr Gura, and also have used this as some confirmation in their minds of official lore based on her character, which are all just insanely wrong assumptions to be made. And some of the outrage has involved not only users on Twitter, but also supposed Hololive fans, as well as fellow Vtubers. It has been a tourist fiesta on Twitter. We're gonna start with this Vtuber right here saying, and just like that, I hate Hololive. This person must have been watching Hololive with their eyes closed for the last couple of years, because a post like this is about as Hololive as it gets. This is something you would expect out of Hololive. And even if you're taking this description of Gawr Gura's character in this setting and thinking something really outrageous about it, that still wouldn't shock the conscience of Hololive, its VTubers, and its fans, because there is a huge amount of lolicons and shotacons in Hololive. So if this post or anything about Gawr Gura in the situation surprises you, you're a tourist. And moving on, here's another VTuber saying, okay, I loosely follow corpo VTubers, but elementary school aged. Doesn't she do sexual content or encourage it? Cause what the F? So there's multiple layers of things wrong here. Starting off, does she do sexual content? I think a quick Google search or a check of her YouTube channel would immediately give you the answer, and that is no. She does not do sexual content unless you're like some Amish person who just discovered the internet a few days ago or something. But does she encourage it? The closest thing you could go to is retweeting art of herself that is sometime etchy, but that kind of lumps into this last part and this last question. The art that she has historically retweeted is not based on this post or art of this post. It's based on art of her VTuber model, which also is a lolly, by the way, but is not based on this character design and this character description. This is not her lore. This is just for this event. It's very confusing that all these people are believing this to be her lore. And here's another VTuber saying, I always knew this was pretty obvious. This is why I don't follow or watch. I hate what this sort of thing has done for more VTubers, especially just petite VTubers that are of age. But this sort of thing makes me extremely uncomfortable. Now, this whole claim here is basically victim shaming Gawr Gura, because over and over again, we've seen over the years, Gawr Gura, based on her petite model, her official one, not this, she has been routinely called a child model or pedo bait and things like that because she has a petite VTuber model. And now you're trying to blame her for things that a bunch of antis on Twitter have been saying about anyone who has a petite model, because it doesn't matter on Twitter what your age of your VTuber model is. If it's petite, people are likely going to call it pedo bait and things like that. So to blame Gawr Gura for that is outrageous. But also, I just hate the fact that posts like this say, oh, this makes me so uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, as you quote retweet the post and the person that's making you extremely uncomfortable, and then locking the replies so no one can even talk to you about this. It's basically like, who is this post made for? If this truly made you extremely uncomfortable, you would just block and move on. You wouldn't make a post trying to garner reaction from your community or other Twitter users. And it's just very odd. And again, also, like, what makes you feel extremely uncomfortable about this post in and of itself? If you have a problem with Gawr Gura and the types of things she does regularly in other posts and in her content generally, go ahead and say something about that. But this post in particular is completely innocent. There's nothing sexual about this post whatsoever. But here's another VTuber saying, elementary school aged, Miss Ma'am, you're pedo bait. Where people in the replies would say this, your likes are public. That sound familiar? And it shows that this VTuber liked the post that she's calling pedo bait, where she then replies saying, I can still like the post. I didn't say I didn't like Gura, so, and then this user says, so you're just a grifter, and ratioing them pretty hard. Now, I have to say, well done to my community. The tool that I provided you guys, the your likes are public mechanism, you guys are using it very well, very proud. But in this case, it proves either two things. Either this VTuber is being completely disingenuous and calling her pedo bait just for clout, or she's calling Gawr Gura pedo bait and then remaining a fan of hers. What are you trying to tell us if that's the case? And that goes to more self-reports or possible self-reports like this one from a pre-debut saying, the amount of not safe for work I see of Gura just to put her in elementary school is something. So what you're saying is you've seen a lot of not safe for work of Gawr Gura before this post, where her character was also a lolly. I don't know, guys. It's absolutely crazy what people say on Twitter. Here's another one saying, how are you people finding out just now that Gura is a lolly made by a lolicon? It's literally so effing obvious. I don't know where people are getting this shocked realization of what is acceptable and just found commonplace in places like Hololive and its fan base. I don't know where these people have been and what they've been watching, but here's one person mentioned that definitely knows how long Gawr Gura has been a part of the organization and the fact that she has a lolly character. This quote retweet says, oh, this is gonna get Venti and her goons mad. And of course that is referring to the most dedicated Gawr Gura hater, Brittany Venti, who for nearly 4 full years has been attacking Gawr Gura, calling her all sorts of terrible things, claiming that she's a man behind the model, that she's a child behind the model, calling her pedo bait, calling her fans pedophiles. She's been doing this since 2020. You can see some of the gems like this one that are almost meme-worthy. And she, of course, made the infamous Predator Problem video where she was talking about Gawr Gura and her community and Hololive as a whole, which is one of the most disliked bombed videos you'll ever see. And recently, a couple weeks ago, she returned to make this absolute stinker. She made the head of consent. Basically, you have to be a certain number of heads tall to be not considered a child, which of course, as people pointed out in some pictures, she failed herself. But here also, she would lash out at Gawr Gura again about 2 weeks ago, making all sorts of ridiculous claims and getting community noted multiple times on the same post and getting almost ratioed by the quote retweets making fun of her. This was something I covered in a video from 2 weeks ago. If you want a full rundown of that situation, I'll put a link to it in the description. It's definitely worth checking out. It's a very funny video. But here we move on to more of the expected comments. This user saying, Mr. Hansen, I can explain. She's actually 9,000 years old. Where, of course, I will remind people who constantly keep lumping in Chris Hansen and telling people that they're going to report lolicon to him, he has publicly stated this. Please stop sending me links to cartoon porn. I find it distasteful, but it's not relevant to my work. Please stop wasting the resources of people like him or law enforcement over stuff that's inactionable and you just have a moral disgust of. And if it's just a joke, I don't think that's a very funny joke to insinuate about someone who's just minding their own business. But moving forward, here's another one saying, I love this and it's really funny. They claim to say she will be a genius, but we know she struggles at basic math. Now that is the most slanderous thing I have seen in this entire set of threads. Okay, it's definitely true.
What's 5 times 5? See, I know what 5 times 5 is, because 5 times 5 is 35. Because it rhymes, sort of. That's the only way I know it. That's the only way I know how to do 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 35. Yeah, well, wait, 5 times 5 is what? 5 times 5 is 35. Please tell me 5 times 5 is 35. 5 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20.
So here's the next one going, I'm confused, we're just ignoring an adult role-playing an elementary child. I kind of knew she might have been underage, but elementary age? Am I missing something? Again, it's another person mixing up this promotional post with official lore and her official character. But also, I find this concept pretty weird. I'm going to ask you guys like what you think, but it seems like people are attacking this post, like not even the fact that it has that, you know, it's not sexual, right? Even posts like this, they're not implying it's a sexual post or anything like that. They're just saying it's weird that an adult is voicing a young character. Like, have they not seen adult voice actors voice young characters in cartoons and anime? Do you think they're weird? Do you have this same energy for them? Because at the end of the day, if you take a very extended look at what VTubing is, it's very close to voice acting, especially when you're a corporate VTuber. You're playing a character. Of course, your real personality is the foundation of a lot of it, but you are voicing a character. So do you have this normal level of intensity for other voice actors who are voicing young characters and just doing their job? I don't know. It just seems like a very odd parallel to draw here. But also, you know, the usual slander like this, and I will remind anyone watching this video that posts like this are something that Hololive and Cover Corp are actively looking at and keeping track of and sometimes taking action against. So just putting that out there. But also, just overall, I mean, this is supposed to be like a fun event. This is something that nobody except for a bunch of people screeching on Western Twitter have an issue with. But again, that's to be expected. And whenever they do stuff like this to Gawr Gura or other VTubers, artists and alike, we're here to poke at them and make fun of them and, yeah, get content out of people acting like maniacs on Twitter. But as per usual, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.